It's now that we must show our example. Now, without waiting for peace.
Next February, the first of our university graduates will be sent to Vietnam.
Involved in a struggle which we must at all costs win.
One of the 100,000 Australians who died in wars this century.
And which we believe in our hearts we will win.
Our democracy depends on our armed services defending our freedoms.
In the sacrifice of the men and women, there is faith enough for all of us.
Good morning and welcome to this special Anzac Day edition of Today, coming to you live from Currumbin on the Gold Coast.
Set to be a very moving morning, from the drizzly skies here in southeast Queensland to the sacred grounds of the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne. Millions of Australians are right now gathering across the country, rising before the sun to honour those who served and those who never returned. This morning, we as a nation stand shoulder to shoulder, just like the Anzacs did more than 110 years ago when they stormed the shoreline at Gallipoli, fighting for our freedom. Shortly, commemorations here at Currumbin will begin, and at the same time, for our viewers in Sydney, we'll be taking you live to the Martin Place dawn service before returning to coverage here at Currumbin. In Brisbane, the 9 News team will bring you exclusive coverage at the dawn service in the heart of the city. While for everyone in Melbourne, your morning begins with us here in Currumbin before we take you live to the Shrine of Remembrance around 5:30 a.m. this morning. On this, our nation's most sacred day, we will hear stories of service, sacrifice and also of mateship. And here in Currumbin, that tradition of remembrance will unfold as first light touches the shoreline.
I stand here at Elephant Rock, a place that has become hallowed ground for the Gold Coast at dawn on Anzac Day. This iconic location has served as a powerful and emotional setting for the Currumbin Palm Beach RSL sub-branch dawn service for many years. It bears a strong resemblance to Gallipoli, the site of one of the most significant battles of the First World War. As I look out at the empty landscape, I'm filled with anticipation for what is to come. I know that in just a short time, thousands of people will gather here in the early hours of the morning, united in our shared appreciation for the sacrifices made by those who have served our country. At 4:35, we will hear the footsteps of the veterans as they march in the quietness of the morning, accompanied by the haunting sound of the bagpipes, echoing and stirring something deep within us. We are reminded of the challenges they faced and the battles they fought, and we are humbled by their courage and selflessness. At 5 a.m, the dawn service will begin right here. The stillness and emotion at Elephant Rock is captivating. As the sun begins to rise, casting a soft glow across the landscape, we reflect on the sacrifices of our brave servicemen and women. You will hear heartfelt speeches capturing the spirit of the Anzacs that reminds us of the significance of this day. Wreaths will be laid symbolising the sacrifices of our fallen heroes. The stories of courage and sacrifice will inspire us, and the words of remembrance will touch our hearts. The iconic burial at sea honours the memory of our loved ones who have passed since last Anzac Day. As the surf boats head out into the ocean and scatter the ashes, it's a poignant and emotional moment, a final goodbye to those who have left us but who will forever be remembered. Anzac Day is a day of remembrance, reflection and gratitude. It is a day that brings us together as a nation, united in a shared history and our shared values of courage, resilience and mateship. It's a day that we always hold close to our hearts, a day that reminds us of the sacrifices that have been made to secure our freedoms and our way of life. By remembering the past, we can learn from it and work towards a more peaceful future, lest we forget.
Official proceedings here at Currumbin get underway in roughly 15 minutes' time with a pre-dawn parade along the Esplanade.
This will feature current serving members of the Australian Defence Force, veterans, local cadets and community groups.
Let's bring in Today reporter Peter Fegan, who is here at Currumbin with us. Peter, good morning to you. It's such a special and important day for everyone involved.
It certainly is, Ali. Very good morning to both of you. Just want to touch on the special moment, and Michael touched on it earlier as well. We've had some pretty patchy weather here on the Gold Coast the last 12 hours, some heavy showers. It hasn't done anything to deter people from showing up to pay their respects this morning. Thousands upon thousands of people will come here to Elephant Rock, pay their respects at dawn. This is considered as one of the largest regional services in Australia. Since 1949, people have been gathering here at Elephant Rock. In fact, that gorgeous Elephant Rock that is the backdrop for this service today acts as a makeshift cliffs of Gallipoli as well, which is very interesting. They also, since 2008, guys, have had the Burial at Sea, which is a very special service where you'll see the surrounding surf boats go out to sea and scatter the ashes of veterans that have lost their lives, diggers that have served this country. Also, it's been lovely this morning to see some younger people, children, young adults carrying their father, their grandfather, their grandmother's medals on their chest proudly. Again, thousands upon thousands of people will be here this morning and they'll pay their tributes in what will be a beautiful service.
Certainly going to be a moving morning. Peter Fegan, be chatting to you right throughout all of it. Thank you.
Yeah, great to see those crowds growing already. And beyond the ceremonies and moments of silence, Anzac Day lives on in the voices of those who have served and those who continue to wear the uniform today.
We spoke to current members of the Australian Defence Force and veterans as they reflect on sacrifice, service and what this day truly means to them.
I'm Terry O'Grady, known as Tex. It's my nickname. I had it for a long time. I served in submarines in the Navy. I joined the Navy at 15 and a half in Western Australia, and I was the coxswain on board a submarine, which is like the sheriff on board, plus the helmsman, and responsible for morale and all that sort of stuff. So.
Well, my name is Laurie Ferrugia, and I served in the Army as an Army medic between 71 and 95. In that time, I served in land-based hospitals like Concord, 2nd Military Hospital, and also field hospitals.
My name is Peter Scott. I was conscripted into the Australian Regular Army for 2 years between 1968 and 1970. After training, I was sent to Vietnam as a combat engineer, where our tasks mostly revolved around searching for landmines and improvised explosive devices, demolishing unexploded bombs and all of those nasty things, I guess, that go bang.
Yes, my name is Ray Heathcote. I was called up and I done national service in 1959. So from there I joined the regular army in 1961 because obviously it's a bit in my blood a bit, I think. I served with the Airborne Platoon at William Towns for 2 years. I went from there to Special Air Service.
My name's Matilda Busby. I graduated high school in 2021, just at Merrimack College in Burleigh, and then went straight to the Air Force essentially the next year in 2022. So I did my gap year through them, so my recruit training and my initial employment training was done in Wagga Wagga. Completed my gap year and decided to come back home. So I work for the Head Space and Cyber Capabilities Division in Canberra, but can just work from home with those flexible working arrangements.
My name's Michael Aitken. Joined the ADF at 19 and spent 22 years in service. I spent 8 years as a clearance diver and then spent another 13 years within Special Air Service Regiment.
Hi, my name is Bernie. I joined the Royal Australian Air Force in 1977 as a 15-year-old. I served for 38 years altogether, across many postings, mostly on the eastern side of Australia, a little bit in Malaysia and a little bit in the USA. I was an aircraft electrician and then finally an engineer.
For me to serve my country meant a hell of a lot to me and also to the crew. It was something that we wanted to do to keep Australia, Australia. It gave us great pride to serve the country.
We did our job in what we believe in defending our country against what we refer to as foreign and or domestic enemies. That's what the term they use. Yeah, so that's what serving my country means to me.
We saw our service as an obligation to defend our country from tyranny, just as our parents had done during World War II.
I was deeply proud to have been involved in a war zone as a member of the Australian Army, but I have a great satisfaction of the fact that when I was needed to do something for the country, I did what was required, and I'm very proud of that fact, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
Serving my country means a lot more to me than the role itself. It gives me a sense of pride and purpose because I'm a part of something bigger than myself. It represents commitment and sacrifice and standing up for something that I truly believe in. And it's just a privilege that is something that's shaped the person that I am today.
To serve my country, it was a real privilege, and on this end of it, the experience that I've received from doing it is I cherish it very highly.
To me, serving the country is the highest honour I could have. As I mentioned, I joined when I was 15. I didn't know too much about the world or what was happening. I just wanted to get out of a little school in a little country town, and serving the country was a really honourable profession, and it's something that I hold very dearly, and I continue to hold that honour throughout my life.
The RSL is important to me for a lot of reasons. The thing is, you can come to the RSL and relax, see your friends, other people that served, and it's really good because we can talk about things that happen to us that civilians wouldn't understand, but other servicemen do, and it's good if you have PTSD. It's good to be able to get a little bit of it off your chest, and you know that even though these guys may not be your close mates, they've always got your back, and that's the thing with servicemen. So the RSL brings that together.
The RSL is important to me because I've come to recognise that the RSL is a vital link between the community and the military. And by military I mean current serving members and veterans.
Oh, look, I think the RSL is vitally important to helping us remember and commemorate those who serve and those who gave their lives in the defence of this country.
Well, the RSL's important because in one respect it's a continuation of your service life.
It keeps the spirit of service alive, not just through remembrance, but through community and connection and that ongoing support for veterans and serving members. It's a place that honours the sacrifice and also looks after the people behind the uniform. Yeah, it's something that I'm so glad that I'm a part of and have this so close to home especially. So
the RSL is very important to me. Over the last 15 or 20 years I've found the importance of the RSL and what it means to veterans, and I've continued to serve the RSL as best I can and will continue through my days to serve the RSL.
Anzac Day is a day to reflect to me. It's to reflect on my grandfather who was involved in World War II. My brother, who also served in submarines, has since passed. We served together.
Anzac Day is a most sacred and very solemn day of commemoration, and I truly do think about the sacrifices that men and women made to defend the integrity of this country, its democracy, its freedom, and they're not cliches, they're very true words.
Anzac Day is a commemoration that's always been vitally important to my family, particularly as it gives us the opportunity to remember, firstly, those Australian Army nurses who were massacred on Banker Island in 1941, and secondly, to remember the prisoners of war who suffered so terribly during World War II, and especially my late father, Sapper Frank Scott.
I've never missed Anzac Day, and I never will. It's very important, and it's one of the 3 occasions I will wear my medals because it's important that they remembered and the people that were in other wars as well. Because it's not just Anzac, it's every soldier, it's every service person, male or female, that's ever served. I honour them at Anzac Day. Whether they're still in the service or not, they are still extremely important to me because they are the defenders of our country, and that's the way we should respect them and link them, even at this stage, with our predecessors.
Okay, so Anzac Day means obviously a lot to me. It's obviously a day of remembrance and, you know, taking that moment of silence to pay respects to the people that have fought for your country, past and present. But it's also just a day to commemorate like the mateship and the beautiful country that we live in, and from those people before us that have went out and, you know, on the front line and did World War I, World War II, the mateship and the courage that they had to do that, and the freedom that we have today is amazing because we live in such a beautiful country. So that's what I love about Anzac Day.
Anzac Day for me will never be about me, and I know for a lot of people it's about the current serving and paying homage to everyone, former, like old and new. But for me, it's always about the original Anzacs and World War I and II and Vietnam. But paying homage to those guys and the things that they went through, and I really take my hat off to it.
Anzac Day means a special commemoration for me. It's an opportunity to remember my past, my buddies, think about the people who aren't with us anymore or the ones who are struggling to stay with us. And of course family. Family is really important to me.
I normally commemorate Anzac Day here at Currumbin RSL. I lay a wreath for submariners, and I also lay a wreath for TPI Association, which I'm the president of the Gold Coast branch. But I also catch up with friends here, ex-servicemen and women. I get that opportunity to catch up with them, which is really, really good, and we can discuss how we are and talk about things that happened.
I can honestly say that I cannot remember ever having missed an Anzac Day commemoration service in the capital cities or regions with thousands of other people. And yeah, it always brings a tear to my eye, to be honest with you, but it also brings a sense of joy to listen to what other people think about what's important to them on Anzac Day as well.
Every Anzac Day I attend the Currumbin Dawn service with my wife Julianne, a retired registered nurse, and it also gives me time to reflect on the mates that I had lost, mainly all killed by landmines, and the dreadful impact that their loss had on their families.
Going down to the Elephant Rock dawn service is one of the best in the world, I reckon. And then you got to go to your RSL for the gunfire brekkie, and then head down and do a bit of two up with your mates. So jumping in some of those traditions and, you know, just pay respects to the people that have fallen really before us and are still fighting for us now. Yeah.
Catching up with mates, get to come down and march in the parade down here mid-morning, and then spend the rest of the day just sort of catching up with old mates that sometimes I haven't seen for a long time. So
I commemorate Anzac Day fairly traditionally. I try to do a dawn service, whether that's here at Currumbin. Then the midday service, I try and get along to that. In between, there's a few whiskies and milks to be had. In the afternoon, I typically jump on a video conference with my other veteran mates who are around Australia, and we share a glass of red wine and just connect, make sure we're all doing okay.
Well, I commemorate Anzac Day purely by the dawn service. It's always a fairly emotional day, but it's also another good day after the service and after the last post. Now, I don't know how many times I've heard that, but nothing can ever take away the feeling of the last post being played at a dawn service. It is absolutely soul-touching. We'll commemorate Anzac Day whilst ever I'm able to move to attend, whether I'm walking or whether I'm pushed, but I will be at Anzac Day till the day I die. It's very important, extremely important.
Anzac Day is a perfect opportunity to always remember to remember. To always remember that all gave some and some gave all. And for that reason then, if we want peace, then we have to pay the ultimate price of continual guarding against whatever disturbs that peace. So for that reason then, lest we forget.
They are incredibly powerful stories, so inspiring, Ali. We're going to be hearing plenty of more of those this morning. The feeling of reverence here at Currumbin on the Gold Coast is just so palpable.
It really is. We're in for a very special morning, and right now we're going to take you to our special coverage of the dawn service here at Currumbin.
everything's right here.
You're on news. Say happy Anzac Day. Say thank you for your service. Say thank you for your service, Pet. Thank you for your service. Do you want to say it?
Thank you for service.
Do you want to say thank you for your service?
Thank you for your service.
Distinguished guests, veterans and community members, good morning and welcome. As an organisation deeply committed to honouring the men and women who have defended our nation, Currumbin RSL stands with unwavering respect for all those who have served. We acknowledge their sacrifices, their resilience and their steadfast commitment to protecting Australian lands and values. In this spirit, we also pay our heartfelt respects to the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and gather in remembrance. We honour their elders, past and present, and recognise the enduring connection they hold to this country. Today, we honour all veterans, past, present and those still serving, whose courage has helped shape our nation's story. May their experiences continue to guide us and may their legacy endure as a reminder of the sacrifices made by all who have worn our nation's uniform. On this day, above all days, we recall those who served in war and who did not return to receive the grateful thanks of our nation. We remember those who still sleep where they were left, amid the holy scrub in the valleys and on the ridges of Gallipoli, on the rocky and terraced hills of the Palestine, and in the lovely cemeteries of France. We remember those who lie asleep in the ground beneath the shimmering haze of the Libyan desert at Bardia, Derna and Tobruk, and amid the mountain passes and olive groves of Greece, both on the mainland and on the island of Crete, and also the rugged, snow-capped hills of Lebanon and Syria. We remember those who lie buried in the rank jungle of Malaya and Burma in New Guinea, and in the distant isles of the Pacific. We remember those who lie buried amid loving friends in our own motherland and in our far north. We remember those who lie in unknown resting places in almost every land, and the gallant men whose grave is in the unending sea. Especially do we remember those who died as prisoners of war, remote from their homeland, and from the comforting presence of their kith and kin. We think of those of our women's services who gave their lives in our own and foreign lands and at sea, and those who proved to be, in much more than name, the sisters of our fighting men. We recall too the staunch friends who fought beside our men on their very first Anzac Day, with the men of New Zealand, who helped create the name Anzac. We recall all those who gave their lives in the Royal Navy, the British Army, the Royal Air Force, the Merchant Service, and in other British and Commonwealth and Allied forces. And we think of those British men and women who fell when, for the second time in history, their nation and its kindred stood against the overwhelming might of an oppressor. We think of every man and woman who, in those crucial years, died so the light of freedom and humanity might continue to shine. We shall be ever mindful too of those brave men who left our shores and died in Korea, Malaya, Borneo, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and in peacekeeping forces, helping to safeguard the Commonwealth and other countries of the free world. They fought against the on-march of enemies who are thrusting to obtain new bases from which they may attack and destroy our freedom. This freedom was won over 2 world wars at the cost of lives of hundreds and thousands of Australians. May they all rest proudly in the knowledge of their achievement, and may we, as our successors, prove worthy of their sacrifice.
As dawn breaks this morning, we gather in stillness to remember. At this hour, 111 years ago, young Anzac soldiers waded ashore at what would become known as Anzac Cove. They faced steep cliffs, fierce resistance, and an unforgiving landscape. Against overwhelming odds, they showed extraordinary courage, ingenuity, and endurance. It was the first major campaign for Australians and New Zealanders, and it forged a legacy of mateship and sacrifice that continues to define us. The Gallipoli campaign would last 9 long months. Though it ended in evacuation, it became a defining moment in our nation's, a moment that shaped our identity and taught us the true cost of war. Today, we honour not only those who fell on those distant shores, but all who served in every conflict since. This year marks 85 years since the siege of Tobruk. Between April and August 1941, around 14,000 Australians held the line against repeated assaults, relentless shelling and constant bombing. Their determination denied the enemy a vital harbour and slowed their advance across Africa. 749 Australians were killed, nearly 2,000 wounded, and hundreds taken prisoner. Their grit earned them the enduring title of the Rats of Tobruk, a badge of honour that speaks of their unbreakable spirit. We also remember the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Kapyong. In April 1951, in the rugged hills of Korea, Australian soldiers stood firm against overwhelming enemy forces. Their courage and discipline halted the advance of the Chinese troops and prevented Seoul from falling. 32 Australians were killed and 53 wounded in that desperate defence. Later that year, at Marian San, 3 RAR would achieve what was being described as the greatest single feat of the Australian Army in the Korean War, though again at a heavy cost. And this year marks 60 years since 6 RAR landed in Vietnam and established the base at Nui Dat. Only months later, on the 18th of August 1966, Delta Company fought for nearly 4 hours in the Longtown rubber plantation against forces that outnumbered them 10 to 1. 18 Australians were killed and many more were wounded. Their discipline, teamwork and refusal to yield under immense pressure became symbols of courage shown by Australians in Vietnam. Across these campaigns, Gallipoli, Tobruk, Kapyong, Mariang San, Long Tan, we see the same qualities: courage, endurance, mateship and sacrifice. Qualities that echo across generations. Qualities that bind us together as a nation. This morning, as the light returns to the sky, we pause to honour all who have served, those who returned, those who did not, and those who continue to serve today. We remember the families who waited, the communities forever changed and the lives shaped by service. May their stories continue to guide us. May their courage inspire us. And may their sacrifice never be forgotten, lest we forget.
He's a drover drifting over western plain. He's a city lad, clocked down Flinders Lane. They're in the trenches of Lone Pine and on the Flanders firing line. A willing band, an ordinary man. He's all of them. He's one of us, born beneath the Southern Cross. Side by side, we say with pride, he is all of them. He is one of us.
She's a nurse in Vietnam. They're on patrol under her skin.
Sons and daughters rising to the call. She's all of them. She's one of us, born beneath the Southern Cross. Side by side, we say with pride, she's all of them. She is one of us. Oh, 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 oh. The spirit of the Anzacs, we're proud and strong. We'll live on and on and on. She's all of them. She's one of us, born beneath the Southern Cross. Side by side, we say with pride, he is all
Good morning, veterans, distinguished guests, fellow Australians and New Zealanders, and visitors here today. To the veterans that are with us, can I say to you, we see you, we value you, and we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, war is brutal. War is chaotic, it's destructive, and at its worst, it is deadly. It is the darkness. But in war, there is also light. It's the human spirit, the humour, the courage, the mateship, and the deeds of ordinary individuals doing extraordinary deeds in support of their fellow creatures. And as the dark of night is always followed by the light of day, the darkness of war is always followed by peace and the resilience of individuals. That is the light. In 1915, we as a nation saw for the first time the horrors of war on the beaches and the battlefields of Gallipoli. After 9 months of fighting, we had achieved very little. And indeed, we surrendered the peninsula. And at the end of that 9 months, we had lost 8,709 young Australian men. That is the equivalent of 1 in every 124 men of fighting age. You can imagine there wouldn't have been a family, a community, or a district who wouldn't have known or known of someone killed on the Gallipoli Peninsula. And rightly, we as a nation said we'd never forget. We'd never forget the darkness of war. And at that time, we knew the darkness of war was upon us. But from the darkness, stories of light, stories of hope, courage, and individual greatness emerged. And if I can talk about Albert Jacka for a moment, a 22-year-old from Victoria who landed on the beaches of Gallipoli on the 25th of April, 1915. He was a quiet, shy, and silent achiever of a soldier. Just less than a month after having landed on the peninsula in Gallipoli, on 19th of May 1915, at a little place called Courtney's Post, he led 3 of his men on an attack against Turks who had captured an Australian trench. As Jacka and his men climbed out of their trenches and moved across the open terrain towards the Turks, the 3 others were struck down, injured or killed. Jacka returned to his trench. He reorganised himself and reorganised a follow-on attack. A feint was conducted around to the back of the Turks. Bombs were thrown in, and Jacka himself, by himself, got up, again traversed the open terrain, jumping in that trench with the Turks, and single-handedly shot 5 of the Turks and bayoneted 2 others. Jacka was awarded Australia's first Victoria Cross of World War I. Jacka's courage, selflessness, and commitment were rays of light on an otherwise dark battlefield. Similar stories of great courage, mateship, and service grew out of the peninsula, and the light of the Anzac legacy has continued on since that stage, and it shines bright today among our service men and women. Through time, though, darkness has pervaded again the world. And you think of Europe and the Pacific in World War II, the Korean Peninsula in the 1950s, Vietnam, Somalia, Rwanda, East Timor, Iraq and the Solomon Islands. But the light of human endeavour and the light of peace always prevails. I think back 25 years ago this year, on the 11th of September 2001, when darkness again fell on the world, when terrorists attacked the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in the United States, killing 2,977 innocent people, including 10 of our own. 10 Australians died that day. That was a darkness that would see us as a nation commit to a war that became our longest war in our nation's history. 20 years in Afghanistan that has shaped our generation of soldiers, sailors and aviators. A war that would see us lose 40 good men in combat, 261 wounded, thousands other carrying mental scars, and our nation spent billions of dollars to help to rebuild the nation of Afghanistan. But the darkness cannot keep out the light. On the 24th of August, 2010, a 27-year-old corporal from here in Queensland would be a ray of light for his men on the battlefield in a small town called Derapat in Uruzgan province. During the battle, one of this corporal's men, Lance Corporal Crash McKinney, would be wounded, seriously wounded. And with his combined team of Australians and Afghan soldiers, this corporal knew that he was in a battle for his life against a numerically superior and well-coordinated enemy. Corporal Dan Kieran became a beacon of light and hope for his own men and the Afghans we were fighting alongside. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but multiple times, Dan Kieran got up from the safety of the cover he was under, moved across open land, exposing himself to draw the Taliban's fire. His idea was really simple. He wanted to make sure his mate Crash McKinney could get evacuated, but he also wanted to make sure that his team could see and locate the Taliban so that they could fire onto the Taliban and hopefully suppress them a little bit longer. To his great credit, Dan Kieran and his actions enabled Crash McKinney's evacuation. Unfortunately, he later passed away. But it also enabled the withdrawal of his combined force, the Afghans and the Australians, without suffering further casualties. Dan Kieran's actions uplifted his team, brought hope and shone a little ray of light in the darkness of that day. Dan Kieran became our nation's 99th Victoria Cross recipient, and we should all be proud of Dan. When the sun rises this morning, when it eventually rises, the darkness of night will fade. In time, the darkness of war ends too. The darkness retreats to the shadows, but in the light, pockets of darkness do remain. Men and women tormented by the memories of war and conflict that they have witnessed and been part of. Year on year, our nation in the last few years has been losing on average 78 service and ex-service members to suicide. That is 3 suicides every 2 weeks. 3 suicides every 2 weeks. These are individuals who are caught in the darkness of war despite the light of peace that they have helped to create. But there are also those, and today I'm thinking of several mates who continue to struggle with mental health, who have found glimmers of light and continue their internal fight to be a light for their children, their families and their mates. For those who are struggling, can I ask you please keep fighting. Please keep trying to find that light. As the light emerges from the dark this morning, I ask everyone to remember the human toll of war that our nation has paid. The over 100,000 soldiers, sailors and aviators lost to our nation forever. The hundreds of thousands who have carried the physical scars of war, and the innumerable men and women who carry the hidden scars of war. But we should also never forget that peace followed war in 1918, and peace will follow other wars of the future. And for those veterans struggling with their mental health, there is hope. Light will return. So the veterans here today, watching across the country and across the world, Let me say again, we see you, we value you, and thank you. You are the light for our nation, lest we forget.
Good morning, veterans, families of veterans, war widows, serving ADF personnel, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honour to once again bring the Chaplain's address to you this year. Today we gather under the shadow of the dawn as Aussies and Kiwis have for more than a century. Why? To remember. And we do so under one clear and unchanging truth, and that is this, that freedom will always demand courage. As it's already been said this morning, for those who have seen war up close, we do not glorify war, but this morning we take the time to honour our warriors. Those who stepped forward with a quiet resolve, not because it was easy, but because it was right. Men and women shaped by honour, bravery, integrity and mateship and a deep love for this nation, Australia. That was the values that drove them. Today it's not only about what they did, it is about what it cost them, their families, what it cost our country. At Gallipoli, young lives full of promise were laid down upon foreign shores. Yet in the fire of that campaign, I want us to remember something profound was forged, and it is what we call today the Anzac spirit. It's one that is marked indelibly by mateship, sacrifice, and unshakable resolve. And that same courage has been carried forward by generations of men and women through the Australian Defence Force. Whether it be in the jungles of Vietnam, the desert and mountain tops of other regions in the Middle East, whether it be East Timor or peacekeeping missions, Australians have stood in the gap, facing danger so that others might live in freedom. Freedom demands courage, yet courage always carries a cost. For some, the cost was their lives. For others, it is carried home in deep wounds that are still healing. So this morning, let us be clear, we honour our veterans of the past and we honour our veterans that are amongst us this morning, not as symbols or political tools, not as sound bites for sensational headlines for the media, but as individuals, sons, daughters, husbands, wives. They're our mates who know better than most what courage truly demands. Veterans, you've earned far more than our applause. You've earned our sincere and deepest honour, our gratitude and our lifelong respect as a nation. But I want us to think this morning that there is another dimension to courage that should not be overlooked. You see, Jesus, the Messiah, identified with us in our suffering. He entered a world torn by conflict and hatred. He came not with human weapons of warfare, but with the weapon of truth and love. And he stood for the vulnerable. He spoke blessing over the peacemakers. And he walked the path of sacrifice, even when he knew that courage would cost him everything. Yet with his eyes firmly fixed upon the cross, he laid down his life for his friends, purchasing a freedom that no army, no empire and no enemy can ever take away. You see, he demonstrated perfect courage, flawless integrity and divine love. He went to the absolute end of the road of courage to make sure that we could be reconciled to God. And he calls us to still follow him today. We may never stand upon the shores of Gallipoli. We may not face the battles of those whom we honour today. But as a people, as Australians, we're still called to courage. The courage to live with integrity, to stand for truth, to honour those who served, not just with words, but with our very lives. You see, the Anzac spirit is not just history, it's a living call to every Australian to carry forward the values of those who went before us, to stand firm against anything that erodes freedom and dignity, and to live with courage, whatever the cost. We will not let the history of Anzac Day be rewritten by contemporary culture. Courage always costs something, but the greater cost is what happens when courage is absent. May we be a people who choose courage, who will really count and honour its price and carry its legacy forward so that future generations will not only remember the Anzacs, but they will know them and they will reflect them, lest we forget. Let me pray this morning. Father God, we thank you that we have the opportunity in this country of freedom that has come at a cost to be able to gather in remembrance this morning. Lord, we ask that we would take from this time not just a marker for the day of what it is to live with values of honour, but we would see that this is a moment in time where we can take these values every single day into the lives, into the relationships we have. Father, we thank you for the sacrifice of those who have gone before us, for the bravery, and that they showed us the way to the cost of courage. Thank you for this day, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
They shall not grow old. They shall not grow weary. Stories to be told, we will remember. Paid for with their lives, given for each other. Woman, man, and child, we will remember. In fields of fire, in fields of pain, it was for freedom that they gave their lives away. Hearts forever burn again by the sacrifice, the choices they don't make. We will remember. Lest we forget, we will remember. Ye shall not condemn. Glory for the sorrows. Heart to heart we sing. We will remember. In fields of fire, in fields of pain, it was for freedom that they gave their lives away. Hearts forever burn again by the sacrifice, the choices they all made. We will lest we forget, we will remember. Death now turns to life, evening into morning, as the sun will rise, we will remember.
Fellow Australians, members of the Defence family, distinguished guests, good morning. 7 months before Gallipoli, on a humid morning in September 1914, 25 Australians pushed inland through the jungle of New Britain in modern-day Papua New Guinea toward a German wireless station at a place called Bitapaka. Few of us have heard of it. Fewer still could find it on a map. And yet, it was there, not at Anzac Cove, that the first Australians fell in the First World War. Among them was a young Army doctor, Captain Brian Pockley. When able seaman Billy Williams was shot in the advance, Pockley knelt beside him and did what a doctor does. Then he did something more. He took off his Red Cross armband, that one thing that marked him as a non-combatant, the one thing meant to keep him safe, and he tied it to the sailor who was going to carry Williams to the rear so that his mate might have a better chance of reaching help. Minutes later, Pockley himself was shot. Both men died that afternoon aboard HMAS Berrima. They lie today in the Bitapaka War Cemetery in Papua New Guinea. Pockley's armband was a small circular thing, offered without a word, given in place of himself. This morning we will lay wreaths, and we will say, as Australians have said for more than 100 years, lest we forget. Those three words are not a closing formality, they are a promise made by the living to the dead, that their names and their deeds will not slip quietly out of the nation's memory. The wreath is the shape of that promise, a circle with no beginning and no end, a grave for those who have no grave we can visit, a quiet offering made in a place of words that we cannot find. We remember the Anzacs of Gallipoli. We remember the diggers of Fromelles, Villiers, Bretonneau, of Kokoda and Long Tan, of the Middle East and Afghanistan. And this morning we also remember 6 men at Bitapaka, the first to fall in our own part of the world. But we remember too that not all wounds are buried in distant cemeteries. Many who came home carried wounds no body could see, and some carry them still. The cost of service does not end at the ceasefire, and for too many veterans, the hardest battle came long after the uniform was hung up. This morning we remember them and we stand with them. We remember also the families, the partners who held homes together through long absences, the children who learned to read a calendar by counting the days until a parent returned, the parents, the siblings, the mates who wrote letters or picked up the phone at the hard hours. Service is never born alone, and neither is sacrifice. The Anzac spirit did not end with the guns of 1918 or 1945, or with the last C-17 out of Kabul in 2021. At this moment, Australian sailors, soldiers and aviators are serving across our region and around the world, at sea, in the air and on the ground, carrying forward what Pockley and Williams began. So as the sun rises over Elephant Rock, and as we lay these wreaths, let us keep faith with those who fell, with those who returned forever changed, with the families who served alongside them, and with those who serve still, lest we forget.
Mount the catafalque guard. The roll of honour and scattering of ashes at sea is a solemn tradition of acknowledging the veterans who have left us in the past 12 months. Each name represents a life of service, a story of commitment and a legacy that endures within our community. For some of these veterans, their families have requested that their ashes be scattered at sea. This final act of farewell will be carried out with dignity by surf boat crews from the surf clubs of the southern Gold Coast. As the ashes are committed to the ocean, one crew member will recite the Ode of Remembrance, a quiet tribute carried in the morning air, and Teresa Pearce will read the Roll of Honour. The laying of wreaths is another tangible expression of our respect. This year, as we honour the veterans who have passed, Suzanne Shipp will invite community representatives to come forward to lay their wreaths. Each wreath is a symbol of gratitude, remembrance, and an enduring bond between our veterans and the people they served.
We call upon the wreath layers. For the wreath of the nation, Lieutenant Colonel David Freeman, retired, FRG. The wreath for the bravest of the brave, Lieutenant Colonel David Freeman, retired, FRG. Representing those who have lost the battle within, Brett Shipp. For the major conflicts, Afghanistan, Colonel Brian Bailey, retired, CSC. Iraq, Lauren Darcy. The Submariners, Tex O'Grady, OAM. Clearance Divers, Jock Kingston. For the Royal Australian Regiment, Bruce Sinclair. prisoners of war, Peter Scott. For the Australian Army nurses massacred at Bankar Island, Julianne Scott. For the TPI Association, Tex O'Grady, OAM. For all animals in all conflicts of war, Denise Taylor.
Farley, 821-3986 Army, 2243032 John Hill Air Force. NX 154153 Rexdale Army. 11985 Harold Miller Army. 6355NS John Mulligan Navy. 3744759 Edward Blutch Army. A111702 Bruce Fay Air Force.
I call upon wreath layers for the Veteran Services. On behalf of the Currumbin Palm Beach RSL sub-branch, Roger Collins. For the Veterans Support Centre, Bernie Rinke. For Currumbin Palm Beach RSL Memorial Club, Pamela Poynton. Open Arms, Sean Skelton. The Services Personnel Anglican Help Society, Jenny Walker. For the Citizens Auxiliary, Anna Natali. For the Gold Coast War Widows, Debbie Bassick. And Currumbin RSL Chaplain, Pastor Dave Marrett.
Varley, 1009164 George Wilson Army. 8090887 Paul Rule Navy. 34225 James Donaldson New Zealand Army.
I now call upon wreath layers representing federal, state, divisional and politicians. On behalf of the Honourable Murray Watt, Minister for the Environment and Water, Nathan Fleury. Member for McPherson, Mr Leon Rebello, MP. For the State Member for Currumbin, the Honourable Laura Gerber, MP, Minister for Youth Justice and Victim Support and Minister for Correctional Services. Division 13, City of Gold Coast, Councillor Josh Martin. Division 14, City of Gold Coast, Councillor Gail O'Neill.
Varley 426327 Kenneth Egan Air Force. 3789166 Roger Finn Army. NF 482526 Marjorie Logan Army.
Wreath layers representing emergency services. Representing the Queensland Police, Assistant Commissioner Chris Hodgman, South Eastern Region. Representing the Queensland Fire and Emergency Services, Chief Superintendent Brad Commons, ASFM. Queensland Ambulance Service, District Director Jamie Rhodes Bates and District Director Justin Payne. For the SES, John Morris. For the Rural Fire Service, Danielle O'Connell. And for Marine Rescue, Brett Drinkwater and Trevor Andrews.
Vale 2781298, David Benson, Army. 364398, Peter Atkinson, Army. A26382, Barry Lloyd, Air Force. 2140971, Robin Baird, Army. R59424, Keith Bulmer, Navy. 2436844, Kenneth Fountain, Army.
Wreath layers representing community and local businesses. On behalf of the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, Travis Couch. For the National Trust, Jamie Cutress. The Pines Shopping Centre, John Weather and Heath Robin. For the Southern Gold Coast Chamber of Commerce, Leanne Cohens. On behalf of the John Flynn Hospital, Joanne Mitchell. Tugun Community Bank, Cameron Window. For the Newmans Group, Marty Newman. On behalf of the Currumbin Clinic, Ben Uprich and Dr. Patsy Olm. The Bolton Clark Aged Care, Linda Jongling. And for volunteering Gold Coast, Ben Naday.
Vale R36104, Raymond Davey, Navy. 17673, John Bowman, Army. 51700, Gordon Bibby, Army. A29374, Donald Ridding, Air Force. 3792961, Alan James McKinnon, Army. 3922473, John Fankhauser, US Navy. 38625, Alan Raymond Whittaker, Navy. W218270, Judith Ann Wilson, Air Force. NX168835, Donald Norman McLean, Army. War Widow Alma Marjorie McLean. 3788049, John Robert Turner, Army. R57928, Huey Ray Berens, Navy. NX171300, William Henry Martel, Army. War Widow Diana Martel. NX97332, William George Lawler, Army. 61184, Eric Berg, Air Force. 108827, Betty Robinson, Air Force.
Wreath layers representing sporting groups. On behalf of the Gold Coast Titans, Stephen Mitchell. For the Gold Coast Suns, Erin Phillips. Currumbin RSL Fishing Club, Colette Purcell. Alligators Rugby Union Club, Dean Jensen and Dennis Dean. For the Currumbin Vikings Surf Life Saving Club, Peter Harding and John Costigan. Palm Beach Soccer Club, Michael Hans. Tugun Bowls and Community, Sue Clark and Nettie Glendinning. On behalf of schools, Palm Beach Currumbin State High, Zeke Zimmerle and Erin Newson. For Eleanor State High School, Lucy Brown and Harrison Saul. Eleanor State School, Alice Jones and Wed Tuxford. Palm Beach State School, Parker Shepherd and Lincoln Cooper. For St Augustine's Parish Primary, Lucia Duclos and Liam Smuts. For St Andrews, Lily Gerber. If there is anyone else who wishes to lay a wreath, please come forward now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Ode of Remembrance and Last Post. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old as we the left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. Please be seated. Student speakers. You guys can step back. Take your release down.
At dawn, the world feels quiet. Voices of the past echo with the faint roar of conversations held long ago. Conversations about family and love and the hope of a new day. In this quiet, we stand between the darkness and the daybreak, where memory lingers and history breathes. On Anzac Day, dawn is not simply the start of a new day. It is a moment of remembrance, of courage, of sacrifice, and of lives changed forever. As the sun rises, it does so on a world shaped by those who gave more than we can ever repay. Some never saw another sunrise, yet it is because of them that we are here to witness this one. We gather in this stillness, in this shared light, to remember not just the stories written in history, but the voices, the hopes, and the futures that were carried into the darkness and never returned.
Every morning, the youth of Australia have the right of waking up without the fear of pain, suffering, and agony. Our young Anzacs didn't have that privilege. They were called upon to defend a nation that was only 14 years young and risked their lives to ensure the protection of their mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, mates, and fellow Australians. Nevertheless, here we stand today on prosperous land promised to us by our fallen guardians. Over 111 years since the Anzacs first stepped foot on the shores of the Gallipoli Peninsula. The bloodshed and violence they endured were so that future generations could live on in peace and harmony. We live on today because of their sacrifice, a sacrifice made in desperation for the people of Australia.
So as this dawn surrenders to the morning, let it not be the end of our remembrance, but the beginning of our responsibility. To remember is not enough. We must carry their legacy forward. We must choose compassion over indifference, courage over fear, and unity over division. On Anzac Day, we honour those who served not only with words, but with the way we live our lives. In our actions, in our respects for another, and in our commitment to our country, their sacrifice finds meaning.
As we leave here today, let us leave them with more than just memory. let us leave with purpose, so that every dawn that follows is not just a reminder of what was lost, but of a reflection of what we choose to uphold. We will remember their courage, their bravery, and the nights spent on the shores of a foreign land. We will honour their values of mateship, selflessness, and endurance, striving to live up to the legacy they created. We will remember them, lest we forget.
The time has come to say goodnight, for every road must end. To the ones who care and are always there, our very special friends. Let's say goodnight to those we love, and maybe shed a tear. But before we close, let's think of those we love who can't be here. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. And when it's time for us to go and our long journey ends, we'll never be alone, you see. We'll be with absent friends. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. Our special absent friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthems.
Ona
Dismount the catafalque guard. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
As we draw this commemoration to a close, let us carry the spirit of Anzac Day with us, not only this morning, but every day that follows. The sacrifices made by our servicemen and women continue to echo across the generations, reminding us of the strength that comes from unity, resilience, and courage in the face of adversity. We owe a profound debt of gratitude to all who have served and to those who continue to serve our nation. Their selflessness, their dedication, and their willingness to stand in harm's way have shaped the freedoms and opportunities we hold today. It is our responsibility to honour their legacy by upholding the values they fought for and by supporting our veterans and their families with the respect and care they deserve. May we walk forward from this dawn with renewed purpose, carrying their stories in our hearts and ensuring their sacrifice is never forgotten.
Hey, true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoker and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue. Hey, true blue. Give it to me straight, face to face. Are you really disappearing? Just another dying race. Hey, true blue. True blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or will he be right? True blue, I'm asking you. Hey, true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey, true blue. true blue, be fair dinkum. Is your heart still there? If they sell us out like sponge cake, do you really care? Hey, true blue. True blue. Is it me and you? Is it Mom and Dad? Is it a cockatoo? Headed standing by your mate when she's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue, I'm asking you. True blue, is it me and you? Is it Mom and Dad? Is it a kangaroo? It is standing by your mate when he's in a fight. Or will he be right? True blue, true blue.
On this Anzac Day, let us recommit ourselves to the principles of peace, justice and equality. May we always remember the cost of war and strive to build a better, more compassionate world. Thank you for joining us in this solemn remembrance. Thank you for being here this morning. Good morning, lest we forget.
And that was the Currumbin Dawn Service. Good morning, I'm Alison Petrowski.
And I'm Michael Atkinson. Welcome to this special edition of Weekend Today, live from the Gold Coast.